Cyprus football, the passion, the thrill. The passion, the thrill. The stadiums roar, you can feel the chill. You can feel the chill. The teams are ready, the battles will start. The battles will start with dreams of glory, they'll play with heart.
Well, that almost went sideways. Galimera, what time you're watching? This is Mappa, and I'm here. Stel's here. Unfortunately, Thassos is not here anymore. No, I'm joking. He's busy. He's been away with work, and he's stressing, and he can't make tonight, unfortunately. But so you're stuck with me, which means it might be a shorter episode. I'm sorry. It is what it is. That's just how it is. But you guys are probably watching Champions League tonight. You're probably worried about other stuff as well. So I'm going to try and make this as painless as possible, right? But before we start, in case you've been living under a rock, we made an announcement yesterday, a very interesting announcement. We're collaborating with PASP. Yes, the Players Union of Cyprus, who have been incredibly supportive of us, and we've supported them as well, of course. It goes hand in hand. And we are now doing a competition. So for those of you who are on Instagram, all you have to do is visit PASP, go on the PASP Instagram page and find the post. I don't know why that's all highlighted. It's probably because I copy and pasted the post. Anyway, so all you have to do, boys and girls, is go on the PASP Instagram account, follow them, follow us at This Is Mappa, like this specific post, tag one friend, and mention your favorite footballer in the comments section. As you can see, even Thassos got involved, but there's loads of comments. I mean, these ones are just, oh, sorry. There are loads of comments. I mean, it's been filtered down to a few. The winner will be announced on the 31st of October. And what will you win? Well, you will win a signed poster of your favorite player in the Brathlima or in the Cyprus League. So yeah, there'll be three winners, three separate winners. So Ruslan, you can come on as you come as a substitute. You can if you want, bro. If you want. Just think about it before you do it, yeah. And Thassos is at the airport continuing the anti-IL agenda. All right, okay, they're going back and forth now. I'm not going to get involved in this, okay? So, as I said, all you guys have to do is go on the PASP Instagram account, go on ours, like both of them, follow both of them, like the post, tag one person, add your favorite player, and you will have a chance of winning a signed poster of your favorite Cyprus League player sponsored by Stoiximan. This is the first of hopefully many collaborations with PAS. As you guys know or should know, we've been working alongside them since March. They helped us with the charity marathon podcast we did in aid of Ena Oniromiav here with so many fantastic podcast hosts. Togari Mesa, Omonia 24, Blue Zone podcast. So many. There's about 14, 15 people. Vaso, etc. So many people. And we've done remarkably well. I think we raised just over 8 grand, all of us together, which was an incredible effort. And hopefully we can do another one pretty soon. But right now, that's the prize on offer. And to be honest, we've had a lot of people involved in this, commenting, trying to get involved in it, going on Twitter as well. So inshallah, we'll keep things moving, boys and girls. I'm going to leave it down here in the ticker as well, just so that people can see what is going on. Right. Without any further ado, let's go. The Brathlima League game. And Apollon beats Omonia 29 by 2-0. Weisbeck scored a wonderful free kick. And then a penalty was awarded for something that looked a little bit naughty. Some are given, some aren't. And Doragaray, Thassos' best mate, put the ball in the back of the net to make it 2-0 to Apollon. A good victory for them. And they're being very, very sneaky at the moment, aren't they? They've gone completely under the radar. I, alongside many, believe that they wouldn't make top 6 this season. And okay, while it's still early days and you never know what's around the corner with the Cyprus League, the fact is they're there or thereabouts. They're going about their business very, very quietly. And maybe it's the French side of them that's coming up. But no disrespect, Thassos, but you know what the French are like. When it comes down to it, they throw in the towel, the white flag, all that kind of stuff. Historically, I'm just saying, I'm joking, before any French people get offended. In fact, to be honest, the way that things are at this moment in time, it's only fans of Omonia that are getting offended by the things that I say. But I'm not going to go into that, just in case. You know, people's feelings are being hurt. Anyway, speaking of Omonia Kosenya, not been a great start to the season so far, has it? But really and truly, let's get it right. Let's get it right. This is a club that was always going to be tipped for relegation. They haven't got a big budget. They've got a very good coach, I think, anyway, for the level that they're at, anyway. And it remains to be seen whether they're going to improve their squad in January. Now, as we know, in the summer, they made a few signings that were quite experienced, some of them inexperienced. And I guess it's all about getting things right. But I can't help but feel that if their fans were in the stadiums, it would make one hell of a difference. Now, I understand their reasoning for not wanting to get into the stadium. We've gone up over this so many times. But when you need that extra 10%, you can ask any footballer out there. They would love to be playing in front of 1,000, 2,000 fans rather than none. So it's a bit of a sticky one, clearly. But back to Apollon. Adrian Gul is doing very, very well. There hasn't been any mention of potential sacking because they're winning games, clearly. So let's just see how they react if they go through a sticky patch at the moment. Obviously, Doragaray scoring. Weisbeck looks like a very, very good player. Very good player. So, yeah, let's see what's going on. Let's get some comments up while we're doing this. George, Thassos, I heard Krikoviak was in the same flight. Oh, we're going to this guy. Apollon going about their business, winning games that never started in court. This is Ruslan, our IL fan, really getting stuck in. He's getting stuck in. There you go. Flipping hell. Doragaray. Yeah, there you go. Flipping hell. Yeah, Stracci, I'm not going to put that comment up just in case people get wound up. I'm not going to do it, bro. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Well, look, I don't know if anyone wants to jump on. I'm going to put the StreamYard link here anyway, just in case. In the meantime, I'm going to go to the next game. And the crosstown rivals of Apollon, AEL Limassol. 2-0 victory away at Salamina. Good victory. 2 goals in the dying moments of the game. Mamas gave them the lead in 2 minutes into injury time. And then Roberta made it 2-0 a minute later. Or Robbie, as he's known. Now, this is a player who a few weeks ago I said could cause a lot of problems. He's strong. He's quick. All right, that's a tap-in. That's a tap-in. But you could tell he's one of those centre forwards that defenders don't like playing against. Don't like playing against. And look, let's get it right. Salamina have been a little bit up and down this season. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. And, you know, Janevski's come in at the right time, I think. I mean, no disrespect to Christodoulou, the former head coach. But Janevski's a different level. He's a different level, and he's done it in Cyprus before. He's highly experienced. And I half expected Salamina to be very, very defensive. I mean, I watched the highlights, so I can't really gauge exactly how well Salamina played. But we saw Janevski at AEL, very, very difficult to break down, especially at Olympiacos and even at Paralimni in some capacity. So to see them lose 2-0, conceding 2 goals in injury time, tells you that, you know, whatever it was, they were holding their own. But then you flip it and look at AEL, who have gone through adversity all season. And normally, clubs that go through those kind of situations crumble in Cyprus. To AEL's credit, I remember a couple of years ago when they got to the cup final, they had so many injuries. Back into that season, Janevski was coaching them and they sacked him. They looked resolute defensively, but okay, you could say it was Group B, but they were playing a lot of youngsters. And even then, you could see that there was a little bit of a transition going on. But obviously, as time progressed, there was boardroom unrest, wages, salaries, etc., etc. But this summer, much like Apollon, they've gone about their business pretty quietly. Yes, they've signed a lot of players, but at the same time, Chris Coleman's done very, very well to gel them so far. You know, Luther Singh looks very, very good. Very, very tricky player. The Russian lad that they got in, I forget his name now. The name's gone over my head. I forget his name. Guys, please remind me the Russian lad that that's been smashing it this season. Again, brain fart. This is why I need you, Thassos. This is why I need you. I forget the guy's name. So they've been quite smart with their transfers this summer. And look, Chris Coleman is a guy that has got years of experience coaching, not just in the UK, but also in Greece. Lesovoy, thank you, Ruslan. Thank you, Thassos. Lesovoy is already in with a shout for being one of the players or in the team of the year. I'm telling you, the way that he's doing right now. If they get top 6 IL, all right, it's maybe. But if they get into the top 6, I'm pretty certain people were talking about him being the catalyst for this team. He's been absolutely sensational. So, yeah, going back to Chris Coleman, he coached in Greece. He knows the environment because, hey, listen, why not? That's what happens, isn't it, in Cyprus? When they're looking for a new head coach, usually it's either a coach that's local or a coach that has got experience from Greece more often than not. And it makes sense, knowing the culture, language, etc. I'm pretty certain Chris Coleman has picked up a few Greek words, a few. So let's see. George says, I feel for Coleman. He's such a top pro and has to deal with Malakias and points deductions. Doesn't deserve it. Well, don't forget, George, even before the season started, Ayala's training ground was vandalized. I mean, there's a fire in the center circle, I think, if I remember correctly. It was at the center circle, wasn't it? So, Kalispera. Okay, I stonjame, man. Leave him alone. So, yeah, it's been one thing after another. And see, this is the other thing with Apollon. With IL. Today, their head of the press officer, Nicola Levendi, he spoke to Sport FM, and he was talking about the situation with the stadium ban. He said, you know, the weekend's game is going to be the first of 2 home games that they got a ban, and obviously it's hurting them financially. So they're actually contemplating selling virtual tickets. Now, where have we seen this before? €5 per seat. Where have we seen this before? I'm pretty sure a couple other clubs have done this, haven't they? So, again, they're being smart. They're using social media as a tool to bring more revenue, which is what they need. And let's get it right. I think when things like this happen in Cyprus with clubs getting stadium bans or whatever, all they have to do is look at the mistakes that they made during the pandemic and learn from those mistakes. Because I'm pretty certain that after the pandemic, I was thinking, well, how would we have done things different? How would we have generated revenue? And this is something that they could have done. Clearly, their matches are on Sida Vision, so they can't charge fans to watch games. But this is certainly something that will work. I'm pretty certain that fans are going to put their hands in their pockets and see where it goes. Oh, look, I have a guest. My goodness. Is he making his debut on This Is Mappa? Stefano, what's going on, bro?
Hello.
My goodness. Long time no see.
Yeah. Haven't seen you in a while, bro.
Have you been dieting, my friend? You look like you've lost a lot of weight on your face.
Oh, true.
Speak English. We're doing
sorry.
English. Yes.
Okay.
This isn't no chuffed. You can't get away with it. It's all in English, bro. We got people watching from around the world. They don't want to hear you talking Greek. They don't understand. Even our friend Ruslan, who lives in Cyprus, doesn't understand what you're saying.
Okay, sorry. My bad.
Adachte.
I've been eating the same. The same.
Okay.
I haven't done any diet.
You look like
Looks weird.
shifted it. You look like you shifted a little bit of timber anyway, son. You know. No. All right. So you're on. So what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about AEL, Salamina, Apollon, Omoniko Senya? Done those teams already?
So far, what you've talked about, because I've just joined.
You haven't been watching?
No.
Oh, for crying out loud. All right. Okay. Well, before you say what you have to say, I've got another person coming on. They're all coming. They'll come in threes. Like London Buses, another guy. Look at this, Thomas, the guy that hosts
Who's
an
the-
Omonia podcast with Stefano. Now, I don't know if you guys have pre-planned this. None of you guys pre-planned this.
We were thinking about doing. Well, we were going to do our own show. We're like, no, let's go and give Stel some company because he's got no
Okay.
tackle. He's got
Okay.
no
Yeah.
tackle.
That's all right. That's all right. See, the more the merrier. And the StreamYard link is there. If other people want to come on, I thought this was only going to be
Yeah.
like an hour show, but it looked like it could be 3 hours at this rate. So,
5
so
hours.
in case those of you who don't know, Stefano and Thomas have a show called A to the P podcast. It's also on YouTube. They talk about Omonia. They talk about the Premier League. Get involved with them, guys, because they know their stuff. Not so much Thomas because he's an Arsenal fan, and you know what Arsenal fans are like. Yeah, it's a bit of a bit. But then again, Stefano's a Liverpool fan, so that's even
I'm not
worse.
that bad. I'm not that bad.
It's even worse.
I get cocky at times. I get cocky. Maybe I just, go on a rant on some things. But Tom is a bit more humble.
Tom, has he come on your show yet and gone 6 times? 6 times? Has he done that yet?
Actually,
Has he
no,
done that
I
yet?
don't think it's that bad.
He's going to do it now. You watch.
Thank you
6
for the
times,
idea.
huh?
Look,
Mm.
as
That's
long
a
as
great
we can
idea.
agree, as long as we
All
can
right.
agree, Spurs are shit. That's the main thing.
Oh, you see, now we could turn the conversation into Premier League. That is haram. We're not talking about Premier League here. Anyway,
Yeah.
boys, we I was talking about the Barathilima so far. Obviously, Al got a good victory at Salamina at the weekend. What do you guys think of Chris Coleman so far in his first year or something? I know it's only 7 games in, but has he done anything that has impressed you? Have you noticed anything different about Al this season to last, apart from winning games, obviously?
The one thing that it's always confusing with British managers. It feels like it's a curse on the Cyprus League when they come into the Cyprus League, and at the moment he seems to be doing all right. Because even against Omonia, I wouldn't say they were bad. I just think we were a lot better than them on the day, and they did take the lead in that game as well. So apart from that, who else have they played this season as well?
Well, let me get up their fixtures. Let me get their
It's
fixtures up.
Salamina. They played us. They
Ethnigo, they
played,
beat them 5-2.
yeah.
They beat
Aradipo.
Ethnigo
Did they play
5-2.
Aradipo as well? Aradipo?
They beat Aradipo 1-0. They lost to Buffalo 3-1, even though they were winning with 20 minutes ago. They beat Omonia
Still
29,
nothing?
and
Yeah.
and that was it. That's it. Yeah, I mean the game against Apollon was cancelled, which they've lost 3-0.
Lost. Yeah.
So there you go.
It's doing well, better than expected, I would say, and he's
Mhm.
beating the teams that he should beat.
That
And
he
he's
should
beating
be.
them.
Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, they're not a title contender or whatever. I don't think they're gonna get into the top 6 either, but there could be a shout in there if they continue. Also, find the derbies they haven't done anything. In my
Mhm.
opinion,
Mhm.
I mean, they look more convincing. They've looked convincing, at least in their victories. Maybe at sometimes they've been iffy here and there. I've watched the Ethnikos game when they won 5-2. It was closer than 5-2. I will tell you that. It was way
Mhm.
closer than 5-2.
Oh
Ethnikos
yes.
could have easily gotten something out of that. Salamina game, I didn't watch it, but they've won in the 90th minute. 2 goals in the 90th minute. I mean, they've looked very well. I like them against Gosti and Nadi in the first game. They were quite well in that game. So yeah, man, they're doing better than what I thought. But again, in the derbies, that is where the test for them, and they haven't really stepped up. Unless if they played the game against Apollon, things could have been different, and they could have gone a point there if it didn't got cancelled, or maybe one. But yeah, I mean, there's not much that they expect. So whatever they get at this point is good. They want to see the team beat a derby, of course. They always pull out something that you don't expect in derbies. But yeah, I would say 7th is the best for them. And Coleman, yeah, I mean, he did his impact so far. I mean, I was really impressed with him back in the day when he managed Wales and took them all the way to the quarterfinals. And yeah,
Semi.
since then, no,
It was semi, though. I think it was semi.
semis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, and he was at Atromitos as well last year, which really shocked me. I didn't expect him to be in Greece. And now he's here. Maybe he's learned a bit from there, the culture and everything. Maybe he has adapted
Yeah.
quite more easily, I would say, in here. So yeah, I think he's doing a very good job. And if they keep him, they can do well.
He had the spell in Spain at Sociedad as well. So again, he's not one of these coaches that's afraid to go abroad. And obviously, the Spanish culture is quite similar to the Cypriot. So again, acclimatizing won't be a problem. But Tom, do you think? Do you know much about Apollon this season? Have you seen much of Apollon? Have you been keeping an eye on him? No,
not really. I mean,
because
just
see,
the
that's
money
what I said before. They've gone under the radar, mate. Like they've completely gone under the radar, but yet they're doing well. I mean, they're above Omonia and Isle.
Yeah. The 13 points, 1 point ahead.
Yeah.
Of Omonia. Yeah. And level of points with Aboel, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, man, they've done very well.
Bit of a sticky one.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on, boys. Let's move on. And there's another game that we need to bring up. And yeah, Paralimni, shock of the season so far, beating Omonia by a goal to 0. A guy called Barry scored. Barry, not the guy from EastEnders. Looks nothing like him. Boys, I think this might be a longer segment than I would wish. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to give you my thoughts on this game because I did it on No Chofters. You guys have done it the same on yours, but let's get into this. I'll give you guys the floor. Clearly not the result that us Omonia fans wanted. Thoughts on the game?
One thing I did, the one thing I did say, and I don't know if you agree, Stel. Like, I get he's done well. He's got us into Europe, but I've always wondered if this was on Avusti, if Avusti was still manager and he lost this game, would they be going in harder on him than on Dubraskas? So I don't know. Like, I always think you're more stricter with the team. Is that stricter? Is that the right word? Like when I watch you and Pedro and Roy talk about it, I think sometimes Roy and Pedro could be a bit diplomatic about it, but I think you're more straight out with it. And I thought it was poor, to be honest. Yeah, we had chances and everything, but it's just that level of intensity. We haven't seen that in the Balathima compared to Europe, and that's what worries me. I don't know if they're doing the same thing that they did to Lennon, where it's a European game. Let's get up for this one. There's no problem. And I understand it in a way. You look at Paralimni, you're like, oh, can I be asked? But if your attitude's like that, then it stinks. But I don't know if that's what it is, or is it his tactics in the Balathima? He's just not doing well, full stop. But he's been watching it since the end of last season, so I don't know what he's getting wrong, to be honest. On our pod as well, Pedro did say, the Pedro that comes on with us, he said that these next 4 games or 3 games, the teams that we're playing, we should get wins. And the first one, we started off with a loss. So, yeah. I mean, fair play to Paralimni. They did what they did. It was a great finish, and they kept it tight at the back. And I have to be honest, I didn't really see us getting back into it. I don't know. It's the intensity level. Like I said, it just worries. That's what worries me. When I consider how well we started off the season in Europe and everything, and even the first game of the season, the Balathima against Ethnigol, the only game that we've been really good to watch is the second half of Nea Salamina and the game against AL, and that's it. I can't think of anything else. Yeah.
Well, Stefano, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to lie to you, mate. I've been keeping an eye on Paralimni this season purely because of their goalkeeper. At the weekend, he did look a little bit shaky in terms of coming for crosses, but in terms of shot stopping, this guy has been absolutely sensational this season. And to be fair, he didn't have much to do against Omonia. I think there was a save from a Jovetic free kick and maybe one where he kind of deflected the ball into the outside of the post for a corner. So he wasn't really tested. But, Adebayo seems like a very, very good goalkeeper at the moment. Very, very good goalkeeper.
He's been mad so far. He's been mad, and they brought him from somewhere in Israel, I think. This guy.
That's right. Yeah.
And he ended up, Beitar. I don't remember the team. But yeah, he ain't that tall either. I've seen him live, And he that tall. Like he's might be like like 6 foot, maybe 6 foot. So even still, we didn't test him. We didn't test him enough. There were no shots outside from the box. There was no intensity. There was no effort to put in something. And even still, like I remember, I said this to the guys on the pod. I remember when Evandro took the shot, the same position where the Baralimni player scored, and Evandro took it to the parking spot, the ball.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't know if it's maybe a manager thing, what's going on right now, or maybe it is they want to throw him under the bus because they're tired for some for some certain things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that
I don't
worries
know.
me a bit at this
I don't
moment.
know. Do you think they had one eye on the? Do you think they had one eye on the European game? Because let's get it right here.
Maybe.
We can sit here all day and say that Baralimni is a beatable team, which is understandable. But I think we're doing them a disservice by talking about how bad Omonia were, because they came to the Razibi with a plan. They decided to go 5-4-1. Kanadi is a new head coach at the club. He's been at Nuremberg. He's been at Adromitor. So you can't say that he's a nothing coach. He's earned his stripes, so to speak. And I think he knew exactly how to play against someone. Get your 3 central defenders as deep as you possibly can. Get 2 holding midfielders. Try get 2 players ahead of the ball as maybe an 8 and a 10. And then you got your centre forward that's going to hold up everything. And yeah, they didn't create anything apart from 2 shots. 1 went in. But the fact is, if you stop Omonia from scoring, you win the game. It's that simple. So I can't sit here and completely trash Baralimni and say, well, it's because Omonia were bad. They had a bad day at the office. It's not the first time Omonia have had a bad day at the office this season. And they've got out of jail in previous games. This game, they got found out. And again, you got to credit Baralimni for their system, I believe, anyway.
Well, I think we were worse. We were worse against AEK and Ethnigo.
Ethnigo for
than
sure.
The Baralimni.
For sure.
AEK.
For sure.
We were worse in those games and we got away with it. But we've been decent so far when we're playing against teams on the low block. When they're playing a low block against us, we've been decent. So that's the thing you said. Baralimni found a way to close us down everywhere, in all departments. Midfield, they closed us. In the defense, they've been very good. But also, bro, some of the players the manager put, I didn't really understand it, to be honest with you. He's putting on Semedo when he hasn't played a month. Even though, he's our best left winger, still wouldn't put him. Put in Simic. He has been very good, but needs a rest. And we have the game against Hearts as well. So maybe you would put Loizu, maybe, I don't know, but he played with the Ethniki. The midfield for me was an issue. It's the same midfield that played against Aris, and it wasn't effective. Didn't do anything that would create or something. So okay, Helander for me was very good, even though he hasn't played for a while. And Koulibaly was, I don't know, like a bit poor for me, but defensively he wasn't terrible. Bit poor with the ball, I would say. Hamas and Diungo were burned out. They couldn't handle it in the second half, and they were giving the ball away. And you see the goal as well that we conceded was just poor defending.
Yeah, it was, but it was a great strike though. It was a great strike,
Yeah.
and as Thassos said, this is a player that was at Agrida last season, right? I think he's on loan from Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. So again, we can't sit here and say, all right, Omonia would the only reason Omonia lost is because they were bad. I think Baralimni had a game plan. And, Tom, if you think about Baralimni right now, I mean, obviously we don't know too much about them because they've brought in a lot of players this summer and they do have a few players that stand out. But do you think Kanadi is looking at their squad now and thinking, well, we went to the Razibi and beat Omonia by a goal to nil with a 5-4-1. So when they play the likes of Ari, Anorthosi, Abolon, do you think they're going to go with that same system or is he going to tinker with it a little bit? Because don't forget, they had 8 players missing as well. 8 players missing.
With Baralimni, because this is another thing. When you look at Omonia, like at the beginning of the season, I do think there was a good vibe to Omonia, and everyone was like, we were getting quite excited about it. Now I'm looking at them thinking they might not do the same with other teams because of the fact that I think they'll be a bit more cautious about teams like Ari and stuff like that. Because I actually think Ari are probably better than Omonia. Bafor this year, definitely. Who else is? I don't know about Abuel. Maybe it's a bit too early to judge. But yeah, I don't think so. I think they would probably tinker around to try and get other results against big teams.
Yeah.
Well, look, they lost 2-1 to Buffalo a couple of weeks ago, and they were a goal up with 15 minutes to go. So again, they're not like a really bad team. In fact, out of the three teams that came up, they're probably the second best out of the three. Obviously, Omonia and Adipo are ahead of them in the table, but so they're not by far and away the worst team that's come up.
No.
Still, like last
Yeah.
year, you were adamant after. Was it IL? Yeah, it was IL, the 0-0 after going down to 10 men. We're not going to win the league. How do you feel about Omonia this year?
No, I think they're out of the race. I think they're out.
Oh, okay.
For me, look, you could say it's a long season, granted. Okay, and you could say that last season Omonia were close to winning the title. They took it down to the penultimate game, which was the game against, was it Ajax away from home? I think it was Ajax away from home, wasn't it? Yeah, something like that. And, you know, it's the same story again, because I don't want to make this all about Omonia, but last season, the main problem was conceding silly goals, defensive errors, and not being clinical in front of goal. And Omonia have the same problem again this season. The type of goals that they're conceding are sloppy. You know, I didn't show the whole goal because I just decided to show the clip where the shot was put in the top corner. But it all stemmed from a long ball that Koulibaly didn't deal with the header. Kusula didn't go with the man that was on that ended up putting the ball in the back of the net when Hamas was telling him, go to him because there's a man on the overlap. It's these little mistakes, right? And you can't uncoach that out of people, especially players that are 27, 28, 29. You can't uncoach it, right? It's something that needs to be addressed here and now, okay? But the fact is, there are teams above Omonia at the moment. Buffalo 7 points clear. Adi are ahead. And the gap might get even wider. Because let's get it right. Omonia have got what they like to say 3 winnable games coming up. Well, we were saying that it was possibly 4 winnable games. Now it's Karmiotissa, then it's Omonia Radipo, and then it's Omonia 29. Well, you've got Hearts sandwich in between. You've got Ghent sandwich in between that as well. You know, it's not going to be easy. So I don't think this club has got the minerals to do it. But whatever, it is what it is. I don't want to keep talking about Omonia. We've done 7 minutes about Omonia. So let's move on. Let's move on, boys. Let's move on. And and great. Wonderful. And the next one, Abuel winning 5-0 against Omonia Radipo. Tejero scoring one of the goals of the season already. El Arabi making it 2. Marquinhos practically ended the game as a contest on the hour mark. Drazic scored from the spot to make it 4. And Gorbu, this player is pretty decent. Gorbu, the Romanian, made it 5 at the end. Stefano, good win for Abuel. Manolo Jimenez, their 3rd head coach of the season. Pretty straightforward win, to be honest, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was more than that. It was convincing. Very good win in front of the fans as well. That turned up a lot. The Papadopoulos as well. So yeah, man, there's not much that could have asked after this, after the manager bounce, after the loss they had as well against Ajax. You know, we're very optimistic going ahead of the season, but after this win, maybe they would change their mind a bit. And I think Manolo is a very good manager, has winning experience, has won in Greece with Ajax. And I think, you know, they give him the chance that he could work and the time. I think he might surprise a lot. And they have the team. Don't get me wrong, they have the team. They have the players to be able to challenge, I would say. And yeah, man, I mean, Abuel will be almost the same as they were last season, but they had this start that wasn't really convincing, and the whole changing with the managers, and especially in Europe, they weren't very convincing, I would say. And so right now with this win, and they had a lot of wins like this, even under what's his name, Domingos, as well. Like
Yeah.
they were smashing teams. So it wasn't like this is the first thing they've done. The first time they've done it was in derbies. They weren't really convincing, and even against Pavos, where they won the Super Cup, even that one, the same. So I mean, yeah, the big test for them is they have a derby coming up. Who is it? Remind me.
Who have Arbor got next?
Yeah, I think
Let's
it's
have
a
a look.
derby.
They've got Anorthosi on the 28th.
Has it be?
Yeah. And then Apollon.
Yeah, that'll be a test. Even though I know Thassos are not doing well, but still, it is a derby. So I will see.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll win. I believe they win. So yeah, they're doing well so far, and a lot of people didn't really expect them the way that they started to do this well, even though they have the players. But yeah, man, I mean,
Well, you say
could
they've
be a
got the players,
test.
but I mean, George has made a comment saying that Jimenez must be on a promise they can spend in January because it's an old squad with a long season, and obviously it's a
That's the
great
main
start
issue.
for them.
Yeah,
But this is
I
it.
agree.
You know, you look at their players and you say Belic is in his early 30s, Petrovic is 35, etc., etc. I mean, you got I mean, if you look at the squad on Transfermarkt, I don't like doing this, but it says their average age is like 27, 28, but that's including a few teenage
The
players, and
youngsters.
it kind of balances
Yeah.
out. Yeah, but they've got a pretty old squad. But let's get it right. We still don't know how Jimenez is going to play in the derby games. Now, against the likes of Omonia and Liverpool, you can go full pelt and have Ndongala on the right hand side and Marquinhos and have Abanya in behind or whatever. But when it comes to the derby games, how do you guys think that they're going to do from a system perspective? Do you think they're going to go deep defensively?
No,
Because
I think
I didn't see Jimenez as coach of Ajax. I didn't follow Ajax Athens, so I don't know how they played in these games. So maybe you guys can shed some light. I don't know.
I'm not sure either still, but this is exactly what, like, two things that Stefano just said. Like, he said that last year they went through the same thing where they weren't playing that great, but they managed to get over the line. They always have this siege mentality, like Stefano always said to me so many times last year. Like, it's us against the world, backs against the wall. I don't know if they'll go fully defensive. I don't think so. I think he will do all right, even in the big games and stuff like that. I think we always underestimate them. And this is what I was going to say, because a lot of the APOEL fans I speak to always say the same thing. Oh, it's too old squad. It's an old squad. Yeah, but sometimes old squads doesn't necessarily mean it's bad news. It's obviously experience as well. They know how to do things right. Okay, you need fresh legs as well and stuff like that. So maybe that's what they're going to address in January. But APOEL, it wouldn't surprise me. I actually agree with. I know Bedro put it in the comment on No Choftes the other day. Like, APOEL will probably be ahead of Omonia this year again. I think they will be above us. I hate to say it, but I think they will.
And what about Omonia Aradipo boys? Because they came up, obviously, through the second division, came up automatically. And this is a team that last season was getting a lot of goals from set pieces because they're a very, very tall team. But surprise, surprise, they actually conceded a goal from a set piece against Arbor. But again, I think they've impressed a lot of people. They've impressed me for sure.
Yeah, they've done well. They've done okay for a team that came up. I think this is the first time, or it's been 30 years or something like that, since they played the first division. Yeah, man. I mean, it's like Aradipo community. They're gonna be able to go there and support the team, back the team, or whatever. And I think no matter what comes, they're gonna be okay with it because they're just happy that the team is there and supporting. And they had also Hermes back in the day as well, doing wonders in the league. So I think Aradipo will be able to do well and surprise a lot of people, in my opinion. Even though they got smashed, I think they're gonna be able to pull a rabbit out
Oh,
of
for
the
sure.
bag.
For sure. I think it's a strong possibility that they'll stab as well. Anyway, boys, let's move on. Let's move on in the next game. We have got yaaaaay beating Anorthosis by a goal to nil. Thassos scoring in the 12th minute. And to be honest, boys, even though there's only one goal in this game, it could have been 4, 5, 6, or 7. It could have been 1-1. The
At
yaaaaay
the end.
goalkeeper pulling off a fantastic save at the end. But again, another win for Henningberg. And they're looking tasty, aren't they, yaaaaay? We saw them against Omonia the way that they pressed high, very, very high, and gave Omonia trouble. But you know, they beat Apoel at the Gazipi. They've beat Anorthosis, and that's, again, you can say all you want about Anorthosis, but they've been on the up recently. So, yeah, what do you guys make of that result?
He's proving a lot of people wrong at the moment, isn't he? Because I remember we had this conversation a few months back, and you were asking me and Stefano, do you think he'll do all right? And I originally said, nah, I don't think so. But at the moment, he seems to be doing all right. And let's be honest, though, I think he would have deserved either a point or even the 3 points against Omonia. They were much better side against us. They were really good. And you can't say but maybe because it was the against his old club, they wanted to prove a point against them. No, because he's been doing it, like you just said, against the other big teams, Apoel and Anorthosis, like we just said. Yeah, I think he's doing all right. I think he's doing really well. And I don't mind Henningberg. So, good for him. Let's see if it's going to last or not. Because let's not forget, the only thing that will make me think it could fall apart is like what he did with Bafoy as well, because Bafoy started off really well, and then after Christmas it went to shit. So it might be the same case again. Let's see.
Yeah. The thing is with Henningberg, it's almost like a continuation of his second season at Omonia, where he was scraping victories even though they were dominating. You know, this season I think they've only scored 9 goals in the league and they've conceded 7. So he's not going to be happy with the amount of goals that they score. But they're unbeaten in 4 now. 3 wins on the bounce. They're up to 3rd. Stefano, obviously he had as Tom said, he had a disastrous spell at Buffer. But it just seems that there's a little bit more tolerance at yaaaaay, even though a lot of fans at the beginning of the season were saying they want the league title. I guess right now they're looking at the squad and thinking, well, Ferrando wasn't great, so Berg is probably a level up.
Oh,
or 2.
Levels up. And they haven't been consistent for me in the league. When the league started, I would say. I remember they were dropping points where they shouldn't be dropping points. So far, for them to gain what they've gained in these games, and also, losing to Omonia in the way they played, I think all of the fans will be very convinced so far with the way that they're playing and the results they're getting. So this is another team that's going under the radar for me. The same with Apollon. And this is another team that will be up there with top 4 at least. And maybe challenge. So this is it with yaaaaay. I remember even last year they were disastrous at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then they managed to be in a title race. So they always pull out something that they have, like you said, they don't tolerate some stuff, and they don't let people get away with any stupidness. So I think getting rid of the other manager that they had at the beginning, where it was a disaster for me, and in Europe. So that was a very good choice instead of just keeping him, backing him, and let's see what's gonna happen. They're like, nope, let's get in someone that's proven, has won the league, and let's see where we can go from there on. And so far, doing so very, very well.
Yep.
Against anyone they're playing.
And there's a comment here. George is an Anorthosis fan. He says, we should have been 3 down at half time. Absolute shambles. 1 shot on target in the 95th minute. Our midfield was well off the pace. Only silver lining is that we have a president now, so we'll see what happens. And Tom, you know what it's like with Cypriot football. If things aren't going right at board level, it kind of filters down to the players. Now, in Anorthosis, the players, in their defense, they've still been pulling through despite all the trouble and the nonsense. I mean, they've had, 4 different boards in the last 7-8 months, which is a ridiculous amount. But, you know, they've tried to be a bit shrewd in the transfer market. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the signings that they made in the summer kind of flattered to deceive. Obviously, the likes of Spoljaric has come in, is a decent player. Conceição at right back has done very well so far. Krikoviak, big name, has come, but he looks a little bit tired already, but maybe, you know, he's still getting used to it. And then Iliev, the striker, hasn't really done much. So there's a lot of emphasis on Barudi and Lopez to get involved in games. But, you know, there's something about Anorthosis this season that tells me that they're going to be okay, if that makes sense. I can't see them fighting relegation, but I can't see them fighting for top 6. I think it would be pretty much like similar to last season, the back end of last season. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think, yeah, I was going to say, like, I think speaking to a lot of Anorthosis fans, that they expected this anyway with all the controversy around their club and everything. I even made a comment once with Stefano and Pedro saying, "Can you imagine if they get relegated?" And they were like, "No, because that would be." And I said, "Yeah, but okay, we're going back to the Premier League, but look at Leeds. Leeds is a massive club, and they went down, so you just never know." But I don't think so. I think they've got enough to stay up. Definitely, I'll be shocked if they go down. I'll be really shocked. But
well, Oka has clearly done a good job since coming there, because they've given him the job permanently. And the thing is, because he's somewhat of a club legend, I think they're going to give him enough leeway. But right now, they're only the level points with Omonia Aradipo and Garmiodisa, 8th and 9th respectively. So I don't think it's a disaster. They're in the bottom 3 at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. No, they're not in the bottom 3. What am I talking about? Ignore me. I'm talking rubbish. They're 10th. So they've got 8 points. They're 3 points ahead of Ethnigo. So again, they're teetering on the edge of the relegation zone, but at the same time, they're not too far from AEL in 7th. So again, it's just one of those where if they string 2 or 3 wins together, I mean, they got 2 wins out of the last 3 prior to the weekend. So they're capable of stringing some decent results, but it just seemed to me that the win against Omonia, you know, Omonia hardly threatened. Or what does that sound like a surprise? And the next one was Salamina, who were completely in free fall at the time, and they still are. So again, it just seems that the wins that they've got has been at the right time for them, but that doesn't happen that frequently in the Barathliga.
I mean, like, and this is the thing that makes me laugh with Cypriot. Well, I suppose football in general, not just Cypriot football. Like, how much do you expect the coach to do with all the shit that's going on above the guy? Like, you know, like I didn't even know 3 board changes in 8 months. How does that even? I mean, it's just insane. It really. And I've always said it. Like, Anorthosis not had the glory days back probably since the last time when they went to the Champions League. Because they just make a mess of everything, man. They just take and they don't put anything back into their clubs and stuff like that and actually look after them, you know. And it's a shame in a way. It really is, with all the history that Anorthosis has, and look at the way they're treating it. But I don't think they'll go down. I'll be very shocked. We have Abuel. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the comments.
Yeah, he says they got Abuel, Aris, and AEL. He's fully behind, but and the thing is, right. Again, it's like what you said about people taking. Like I don't know the full situation with Boulaidi and Hamdullah, because obviously they were together at the club, and then I don't know if they fell out. I could be wrong. Maybe there was a disagreement in some way, shape, or form. But it just seemed that since those 2 broke away, the club has gone downhill. But again, that's down to mismanagement. Sandis came in, said he had a plan, couldn't utilize that plan. He effed off. Then someone else came in, and then that didn't work out. And they're just going around in circles. You've got a club that's 14 million in debt. Last season, we saw how many players leave because they were going to write to FIFA to try and break their contracts. They've got players still on, like Charlie Musunda. I think he's still there, you know? So it makes you wonder what the hell was going on at board level. And from a scouting perspective as well, because some of the players that they signed this summer look good, but some of them, I don't know, man. It's mad.
Well, especially with one of the last signings they made, Krikoviak, that one really, it was at that time where everyone was leaving from the boat, and they signed Krikoviak, and I was a bit confused. I'm like, no one's there. So who's handling What's going on? Like, who's handling all of these contracts and bringing these players and everything? Like they were bringing at that time. And I'm like, is there something behind a secret or maybe a potential new takeover at that club? Something's going on at this time. No one knows.
Well, they did have Russian interest, and
Yeah.
that's what we understood at the beginning of the season. But they decided to pull out for, well, we were told two reasons. One of them was because someone at the club leaked a photo of the potential new owner at a friendly game, and that breached confidentiality. But also, the club hadn't performed an internal audit, so they didn't know how much debt the club was in. Even the club didn't know exactly how much debt it was in. And then obviously you've got the fans that are trying to raise money for the club. You know, obviously they tried to say this, they saved the stadium last season or in the summer, you know, raising €1 million for the Papadopoulos so that it wouldn't go to someone else's hands. So it's been an utter shit show. And for them to still be plugging away, I don't know whether it's because most of the players aren't from Cyprus and they don't really follow what's going on. I mean, as long as they're getting paid, that's the main thing for them. I don't think these players actually told the full scale of the situation. So I don't know. It's a wild one, to be fair.
It's confusing for me. It's confusing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Got two more games, boys. And the next one, Aris beating Ethnikos 2-1. Mayambela giving them the lead in the 20th minute. 3 minutes later, Kazum made it 2. And then Anderegen, the guy that came in to replace Cabrera, scored another goal this season. I really like him, Anderegen. I really, really like this player. I think he's fucking brilliant.
He's going to be at a big club next year.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. 100%. Let's see. Well, it was a routine win for Ari, really and truly. I think Badia said at full time that Ethnikos players were scared of Ari. And let's get it right. When you got players like Kavilidaya, Mayambela, you know, Gomis, it's very difficult to be like, yes, let's give it a go against them. You know.
Stel, who are you tipping for this year for the Barcelona?
Aris. I said Aris.
Yeah? Not Baffle.
No, I think the European adventure is going to be a little bit too much for him. And I know that for a fact that Aris are going to strengthen in January as well.
Okay.
So, you know, they're getting things, I was going to say right, but they seem to be getting it right every season. It looks like they're on the up. So
yeah, they are. But I said this as well. I remember to them and Aris, there's no excuses for them this year because no Europe. You had your excuse last year with Europe. Now, win it. And you have the experience. You have the manager that has the know-how and has won it as well with Ari and other countries as well. So you have to, for me, there's no other way. Title race, you have to win it. And they have a very good team. They brought in Givitalia as well, and a few other players, Goldston. And bro, I'm just at times I'm just jealous of them. I saw them playing against Ethnikos, and I was like, look how simple they're doing this. Look how simple they're scoring the goals. I saw Mayambela running up and down. I was like, shit. I mean, this guy is unstoppable. He's a beast. He dominated the whole game for me. Like, he was unreal on that flank.
But this has been 3 or 4 years worth of scouting and development. There's a fundamental difference. You know, this summer they could have easily got rid of 5 or 6 players. It was only Zoke and 1 or 2 that left. I know Morgan Brown isn't in the squad either at the moment. But they haven't dismantled the squad. They've got that core group of players. You know, Gomis, Gogori, and Vilitaya has come in now, obviously, with their experience. Mayambela, as you mentioned. Like, Montenor is phenomenal. Yeah. For his age, he's absolutely ridiculous.
He's amazing. Yeah. Savo as well.
Yep. But again, defensively, that's the only thing that lets them down, I think, anyway. But once they get that right, which I'm pretty certain they will, especially with Goldson, as you quite rightly mentioned, they're going to be scary. They're going to be very, very scary. And things seem to be better with Spilevsky as well. There isn't that internal bickering, etc., etc. So, Yeah, I don't know. And as for Ethnigol boys, look, they played Omonia off the park in the first 25 minutes, first game of the season. They're in the bottom three at the moment, but I'll tell you what, it seems to be like a bit of a false position for them because, all right, the table doesn't lie and they haven't been getting the results, but they haven't been playing badly. That's the thing. They haven't been ripped apart.
No, they've been dominated. Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say, like, you remember we spoke about this development? We were like, our scoreline against them really did flatter us. Excuse me, because they were a lot of the time had the best, the better chances on that day. If they had a little bit of quality, they probably would have beaten us. Don't forget they beat. I think did they only beat Abuel this year as well? Did you say 3
3-1
points?
away? 3-1 away.
Yeah. I mean, like I don't know. I mean, and what's their last few games been like? Have they been close ones as well? Because 2-1 against Addis is not that bad, to be honest. Was it 2-1 in the end or 3-1? Did you say?
Yeah, they lost 5-2 to IL away from home. They drew 2-2 against Anorthosis at home, where they were 2-0 up, I think. Yeah, they were 2-0 up. They drew 2-2 at AEK Larnaca. They lost 3-2 at home to Salamina when they should have had a penalty, which, again, a little bit dodgy. And obviously the game against us where we were a goal up and they got the ball over the line and it wasn't given. So they've been unlucky this season, but you can't blame that. And I'm pretty sure David Badie isn't looking back at those games thinking, we should have got that. I think he's probably sitting there thinking, all right, we move on to the next one. We move on to the next because that's all we can do.
Yeah.
Well, they've got Paralimni next away.
Well, Mike, we didn't speak about that. We asked you. Well, I asked you still about title. Who do you think will go down then? This year?
I think Omone Gosigna is going to go. I think Garmiodes is going to go. And probably Paralimni.
Jesus Christ, Kamiotis are just lost to Ayanaba.
They lost to Ayanaba 3-2 in the cup today. And the winner was scored by a 16-year-old.
Baggage scored.
Baggage scored, yes. Pedro will be happy about that. Yeah. George says it right here. Akana just needs to tighten up at the back. They do, and the goalkeeper needs to change as well. I'm sorry, but he's not too clever. And Stel, the Pentagon called something about some government secrecy. I'm not going to go into that. Not going to go into that. No.
We want the channel to remain, not to
we do.
From YouTube.
And Griago says, "Hello, boys. It just came from the Rafinha hat trick aura. What did they beat Bayern Munich then?
4-1.
4-1. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, let's move on to the final game. And Bafo absolutely battered Garmiodisa 4-0. Dragomir, Jairo, Tankovic, and Golda, the goal scorers. If you watch the second goal from Jairo, I mean, the defending there is absolutely trash. And the third one, he absolutely bullies the centre back. Look at that. He's absolutely bullied him.
Yeah. I thought he was going to give a foul there. I'm not going to lie. And then I saw it again. I was like, yeah, he got bullied.
Yeah. And they scored from a corner as well. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Not many teams score from corners, do they?
I mean, they made it look very easy.
Do they? Well, this is, I think we can probably go over this one in literally a few moments, boys. Buffalo, absolutely sublime. They've scored 19 goals this season. They've only conceded 4. Top of the league on 19 points. It was a walk in the park for them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I actually think they'll win it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think because of that cup win against us, I think that's galvanized them. I think that will help them have that winner's mentality. Do I think what you said about Europe will be hard? Maybe it'll be best for them to... Obviously, they're not going to do that. They're not just going to give up on Europe. But if they get knocked out early, I think they could focus on the league, and I think they could easily get it, to be honest. I mean, I think the two main teams definitely this year is Ari and Barford. I can't see anybody else reaching their levels, to be honest.
The thing is with Buffalo, before we always used to say, well, if Jairo isn't playing, they're going to struggle. But that's a completely different situation now. because you've got the other Brazilian lad that's getting goals when he comes off the bench. Then you're thinking, well, maybe on the left-hand side, they're struggling a little bit because Bruno hasn't done well. Well, Jaja has been sensational. He's already in my team of the year. He's been different class. Different bloody class. Pepe isn't even playing at the moment. They're saving him for Europe. Look, they're a completely different animal. And as I mentioned before, they're not conceding goals either. Yeah. Goldar's getting on the score sheet as a defender. So they could be, well, they will be a big problem this season. But Stefano, I mean, Tom did mention, you know, my thoughts on Europe and how that could be a distraction. Do you think their inexperience at European level could actually end up hurting their league campaign? Do you think they're going to focus a lot on Europe?
Well, I've seen them against Petro Club that when they played in the first game, and they were animals. I didn't see any different that they play in here compared there. So for me, the big test for them is tomorrow, of course, in the Fiorentina game that they're going to play. Tomorrow, you know, it really excites me, that game, Thassos against Heidenheim. It's going to be, you know, very good teams for me. They play good football. And I think Thassos, you know, you ask me where they're going to focus. I think, well, for me, they should focus on the league mostly. But also playing in Europe against those type of teams, of course, it could get them tired as well at the same time, because they're going to play 2 games every time, and you know it's not going to be easy. But maybe it could give them that extra in the big games. You know, when you play in Europe, it can give you that extra strength, I would say, to get over the line. So it could be that good thing as well for me. But
and I think the other thing
they have enough. Don't get me wrong, they have enough to win and do well in Europe.
Of course, and I think the other thing we need to consider is that they've got a head coach that, as an assistant to Unai Emery, has won European trophies. You know, this guy was with Emery at Arsenal. He was at Villarreal. He was at Sevilla, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was in Russia with him as well. So, you know, he may have been the assistant, but he's seen it and he's done it. So it could be a very, very sticky one for the rest of the league. And I mean, there's a comment here from Girago. We saw what happened to Buffalo with Berg when they were first for 6 months, I think. And at the end, they didn't even qualify for Europe. There are so many games and anything could happen. Yeah, you're right, Girago. But right now, mate, they're in the strongest position at the moment, the top of the league. And they're flying. But guys, I have to do this. I have to do this because Garmiodissa, they terminated the contract of Camoranese mutual consent, and as a result, he is now the 7th head coach that has now left their job.
Here we go again, it's another day, and now the manager's out, we couldn't stay. The ink's still wet on that brand new deal, but in Cyprus change is all too real. Oh, another manager is out. It's no surprise we scream and shout. Last season, 18, the year before was more. In this revolving door, who's keeping score?
Yes, managerial casualty number 7 of the season. Last season, we had 18. The year before was 27, 28. We've gone through about 52 head coaches in Cyprus in the last 3 years. It's ridiculous. So Camoranese has decided that he wants to go back to Italy. I'm not sure why. Okay, he was there for 2 games. And it looks like that Christodoulou is going to step in to take the job. Now, boys, I'll be honest with you. This summer, I was told by a very, very good source that Garmiodissa were on the verge of bringing in new investors, new sponsors, and are very, very serious about challenging for the title. Now, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And when Sofroni left, in fact, Darabuluzzi came in before Sofroni left. Sofroni left, and then Darabuluzzi left. Then Camoranese came in, and now he's gone. So this is a club that, for me, they're going to be in the shit, literally in the shit. And it sounds bad for me to say because there's some really good people at that club, players especially that I know personally. But that club is just an utter mess. Boys, what can you say that I haven't already said?
Well,
Here's another thing that I was going to ask you, still. Like, have you obviously you've spoken to what's his name, John Carver, and you've spoken to probably other managers who've managed in Cyprus. What, I mean, what is it? Is it ego from the board members? Is it they think they know best than the coaches itself? Are they just not patient with them? I don't get it. I don't get it because it's so ruthless. It is so ruthless in this league. Like, you lose one game or even two games and it's just done. You know, like, don't get me wrong, like other leagues it does happen. So the question is to you, like, what do they say about these things? What is it exactly? Like, how much, like, surely if you're a Gamyodisa fan, how much do you really expect? No disrespect.
Are there any
to them.
Carmiotis fans? I'm sorry. Do they have any? You got no fans. Look, I'll be honest with you. It could be a combination of a lot of things. It could be egos. It could be board members. It could be chairman changing the team lineups, as we saw at Carmiotis a couple of years ago when the Punin made substitutions at halftime against Olympiacos. You know, it could be agents getting involved. It could be, you know, people that are asking players to throw matches and the players don't want to do it, so they don't play. It could be a combination of a lot of things. But the fact that Camoranese has come with a big reputation, right? Because as a player, to have played for Italy at World Cups and winning Champions League with Juventus, to come to Cyprus is a big deal. But to leave after just 2 games, 3 weeks in charge, if that, there's something seriously wrong. Seriously wrong.
This reminds me of the recent one. Claude Makelele, when he left Atromitos. Not Atromitos,
Yeah.
sorry, Astera.
Yeah.
3 games. So they're just... Bro, it's just kind of the same that these clubs just get involved in the manager. And they just want to take control of everything. You know, we're going to do this in our terms, and you have nothing. You're just going to train the players, go to the games, you know, play your games. But from there on, we're going to have full control of whatever. That's what it seems like. They want to do things in their own terms instead of letting the manager do his own thing. And I saw the bounce that Camionesa had against Aboldon. I said, you know what? Maybe this guy is cooking something. Maybe they give him enough time to do something. Maybe he could, you know, finish mid-table, I would say, not get relegated. So now that he's left and at this shit show, I mean, they're in the pits. There's no saving them. So I'm pretty sure another manager would leave in his own terms if this continues. And this has been going on for years. This is not new.
Does anyone want to guess? Does anyone want to guess how many head coaches they've had since 2020?
I'm gonna go 23.
Oh, that's well over. That's well over. You're exaggerating there a little bit. Do you want to guess, Tom?
15.
Wait a minute. Is it what Stefano said? Is it more or less?
It's more. It's
Okay,
more.
less. Oh, it's more.
Sorry, it's less. Sorry, it's less. Sorry. He said
less.
more. Actually, less.
Okay, good.
18.
18. Well, the answer is 15.
15.
Not
That was
bad.
my second guess. I
Not
said
bad.
15. Yeah.
15 coaches. And Sofroni has been there twice.
You might go again there in the future.
Well, you never know. you never know. I mean, Christos Haralambou was there twice as well. They had, Camoranese, Mario Haralambou, Sacha, Bratu, Kertsakov, Katskevich, Urin, Efthimiou, Pondigos, Philippou, and Mikhail. And even before that, they had Liasso Luga, who was there for, 2-3 years. So it just looked like Liasso Luga was the guy. He was the guy. You never know. It's mad.
Even Aris wasn't bad.
Mad. So yeah, that's Karamiodisa.
Just to make a connection here, you know, you said about some guy called Punin make a change or did something with the lineup.
Yeah.
Is that the same like Punin that has the shops that sells wines and cheeses and stuff like that?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So he's invested in the club basically.
He was.
Yeah, now
He was.
yeah.
He just sponsors them, but he's no longer part of the club as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
As far as I'm
Right.
aware. But, you know, don't know what happens.
Well, Stel,
I don't know.
we have them next
Yes, yes. Omonia face Carmionis are next. Yeah, happy days. Happy days.
on Monday.
Yes. Right,
Wonder
boys, let's
what
have a look at the
happened.
league table very, very quickly. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
No, but-
So, yeah, Buffer top, 19 points. Adi second on 17. Aek, Apollon level on 13 points. Omonia in 6th on 12. Ael also on 12 points. Then you got Omonia Radipo on 8 points. Carmiodisa and Orsi also on 8. Paralimni on 6. God, that was their fucking second win of the season. Jesus. Ethnigo on 5 points. Salamina on 3. And Omonia Gosienia on 2 points. 2 points, boys and girls. I mean, it's hotting up, isn't it, this season already? It's hotting up.
Quite close. Quite close.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Right, boys, there's only one more thing I have to go through before we wrap it up. And I can't do it without Thassos normally. But since you guys are here, here it comes.
It's time to spin the wheel. What is coming? We don't know. Spin the wheel now.
Right, this is Vrionidi. And for those of you who don't know, he's the sports judge. He decides who gets fined, who gets points deducted, blah, 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 blah. Now, he's come out with his findings for the week. Now, it wasn't for this weekend gone. It was for the previous week, but there was internationals, which means it's all about the lower leagues. Clearly, he had to keep himself busy and worry about the lower leagues. And it wasn't just the lower leagues. It was also the under 14s. There was Hermes Aradipu. They were fined because they fielded an ineligible player during an under 14 game. Whatever that means. Was he 15? Was he not on their books? I don't
16.
know. So, yeah, something like that. Hermes and Ayanapa, that game was, well, they call it interrupted. Was it postponed? I don't know, I guess. And Ayanapa were handed the 3-0 victory. Let's have a look. There was an under-16 game between Lachon and Adoni. I don't know who they are, but that was suspended for some reason. Again, no reason given, but it was suspended.
From the rain.
Huh?
From the rain. From the rain.
Oh wait, no. Wait, 1 second. No. The game was suspended. No. Let me start that again. I got my words slurred. There was a suspension, but it's for one of their coaches. It's for one of their coaches because he was listed on the bench as a first aid staff member, but he's actually a coach. So yeah, that's a bit of a wild one. This is Cyprus.
First time I heard that in my life.
Yeah. There was a game between Aez and another team. He's never heard of them before. That was postponed, and Aez won 3-0. But interestingly enough, Abop, Meap, Spartakos Gidiou, and Abea were fined because they had an advert on their kit, so I guess a sponsor, without prior approval from the CFA. So I didn't know that you needed to get the CFA's permission to have a specific sponsor on your shirt.
Well, if it's not allowed, shouldn't they play without sponsors instead?
Well, I don't know, because if it's a gambling company, then I can understand, because I know that laws in Cyprus about gambling and betting companies is a little bit, yeah. But if it was just like, I don't know, Marias Gupes, like, you need approval. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But listen, there's nothing else really to talk about. The rest of them are just fines because players were dismissed for inappropriate behavior or 5 yellow cards in a game for a team. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Inappropriate behavior, Irakli, Bila, Doxa. Oh, wait, 1 minute. Doxa got fined, not just for having a sponsor on the kit without approval, but they didn't confirm the match report electronically through the comet system within a deadline?
It sounds like Sunday League.
It
It's
is Sunday
wild.
League. It's not Sunday
It is.
League, but yeah,
Wait, they have one judge that does this whole thing in Cyprus.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think he just sits there looking for excuses to find clubs.
And let me
Honestly,
just
when
do
they-
something. Yeah.
It's mad.
Let me just find something that I can do on my day off.
Yeah.
Oh, here. Oh, this.
Yeah.
I mean, the first aid thing is ridiculous.
Yeah. So, but then again, you're thinking maybe the club didn't have enough. I don't know. Didn't have. But see, this is the thing. Did they not have a first aider, so they decided to use a coach as a first aider? What if the coach actually had a first aid license? Why would that be a problem? I mean, we know that a game between Ayers and Ayala last season was cancelled because they didn't have a doctor present because he missed. He forgot the time of the game. He thought it was an hour later. Sorry, an hour earlier. Whatever it was, he got an hour wrong. It's mad. It's mad.
Have you seen George's comments though?
George, I heard the players Bapu threw a guba at a ref. Well, we did have one last week where a linesman had a bin thrown at him in an under 17s, under 16s game or something like that. So, yeah, that is it for Vrionides Watch, guys. I'm pretty certain that we're going to have some more interesting stuff. But don't forget, if you're going to sponsor a team, make sure the team gets permission from the CFA before they get it on. Otherwise, they're going to get fined. So there you go. That's the Vrionides Watch.
It's time to spin the wheel. What is coming? We don't know. Spin the wheel now.
All right, boys and girls, that is it for us this week. Just one more thing, a quick reminder, as we said at the beginning of the show, don't forget to join our competition with PASP. We've teamed up with PASP. Go on their Instagram, go on our Instagram, give us a follow. On this particular post, put a comment, tag someone, comment on your favorite Cyprus League player, and you have a chance of winning a signed poster. 3 potential winners. So that is it. All the information is down below. It's also in the description. Stefano, Thoma, thank you for joining me, boys. Let us know where we can find Yoshi.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, A to the P show. We review like Stel said, we review Premier League as well as obviously more money out based and stuff like that. We also have other stuff in the pipeline, is it called? Yeah. So like we want to do like even video game reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, you can find us on YouTube, A to the P. We've got Facebook, Instagram, and X as well. So yeah, and we're just before we go, we're 1 away from 250 subscribers. So if if someone can subscribe today, we're 250. We're proud. We're happy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What about you, little man?
Yeah, man. Covered up everything. I mean, we've been doing quite well recently. You know, posting one video for Monia weekends or whenever they play, and then we do the Premier League after the Premier League is finished, whenever we can. And yeah, man, I mean, we're looking for new things to do as well after that. But we were actually trying to plan a trip for the Omonia game right now, but you know, for some other reasons, we couldn't be able to make it as well.
It's too cold, man. It's
Also-
too cold. It's too cold.
Yeah.
Stay where you are. Stay where you
Yeah.
are. I don't blame you for not going. Fuck that. No disrespect. I've been to Edinburgh. It's windy. It's very windy. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, before we go, though, what
Yes.
do you think tomorrow? What do you think?
I think it's going to be another L, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Because
Be another L. I don't want to say it too loud because, I mean, there's a comment here, right? Where is it? Still, have you recovered from the cancel culture that hit our fans? Yeah, well, see, this is the problem, Chris, right? I'm not going to go too much into it, but there are people out there that have some kind of weird obsession with no choftes. And the moment you say something critical about the club, whether it be factual or whether it's an opinion, you're going to get gunned down on social media. But the way I see it is that when people hide behind the keyboard, that just shows you what type of person that they are. I live in some people's heads rent free. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. And listen, if they want to, if they love me or not, you know, they've got my beautiful face on social media. They can knock one out as many times as they want. They probably do. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But hey, this isn't that kind of show. We're going to leave it at that. So, anything else, bro?
No. Look, my opinion's the same. I actually think we will lose tomorrow. I just want them to go out there and put up a bit of a fight. And even if it's a close, like 1-0, 2-1, something like that, as long as we actually show some effort and some balls, I'll be really happy. With the Balathima, I am concerned with Dabraskas, but that's that. Let's just see how we get on against Kamyolisa, because if we take an L from them, then I'm definitely thinking alarm bells will be ringing. But you know, that's by the by. Let's get through this game, and we'll be back as well tomorrow with a review after the game.
Excellent. George has fingers crossed for all the Cypriot teams. I think he says that through gritted teeth as an Onotosi fan. But obviously, Omoni have got Hearts tomorrow. I said that we're going to probably lose 3-0. But my heart says a 1-1 draw. I'll be happy with that. Apoel have got Borac Banyaluka. One of my friends is actually reporting on the game for the Serbian club, for the Bosnian club. I don't want to get that wrong. For the Bosnian club, he's in Cyprus at the moment. He's been contacting me and Bedra because we've been giving him a bit of advice. And obviously, Buffalo are playing. Is it Heidenheim? Heidenheim they're playing. Yeah. So, how do you guys think that Apoel and Buffalo are going to do anyway?
I think Apoel will win.
Yeah, I hate to say it.
Well, I'll tell you what, that club gave Panathinaikos problems.
And Bulk,
yeah.
So yeah, it won't be easy. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a draw, but I think we might win like 1-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
1-0, and Paphos, they could lose. I'll be real. A very tough side, Heidenheim. Or maybe they could, I don't know, pull out something at the same time. Maybe like a 1-0 or 2-1.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the fence.
Maybe, well, like you said, though, maybe the coach has got something up his sleeve because of how good Unai Emery was during European tournaments and stuff like that. And look how well they've been doing. Yeah, look how well he's been doing with Aston Villa in the Champions League. So, you know, let's see. Let's see.
Experience. Right, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to go through. No. So anyway, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and X at This Is Mappa. Obviously, you got the boys here, A to the P at A to the P. And that's it for another episode of This Is Mappa. Thank you, boys, for joining me, for stepping in.
No problem.
Yeah, very nice surprise. Very nice surprise. We need to do this again sometime.
Yep.
Maybe we'll get Thassos here so we can like adjust the balance a little bit, you know. So
yeah,
it's probably fed up with Omoni others anyway. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back very, very soon. Ciao. Laters.